scary night tonight, I think. Annyeong! Hello everyone. Welcome to the stream. Please let me know if I'm speaking too quietly. I will use my streamer voice after. Kanye, also hello. Elaine, hello. Welcome to the stream. Hi. Yeah. Good evening, everyone. It is I, Miria from Commander Virtual Live. Today we are going to be reading. Yes, reading. Oh my god. My friend who does coding will be scared of your background. Oh, it does hurt. Is it super red? I think it looks okay. I mean, yeah. Yeah, so today we're going to be doing, reading without pictures. You have to use your imagination. Yeah, good evening. How was your day? Day? This is like a later time slot for me to stream, and I figured it was appropriate because I am gonna be reading like some really scary, hopefully scary stuff. So scary. I'm so sorry. I didn't know, because like, okay, like I typed this with great struggle because well, I figured typing it in a single block of text would look so boring, so I spammed the spacebar. Last time I had a horror reading stream, it was also pretty late. Also, hello! Tired today because of driver's license. Finished our midterm, so One Piece, right? Nice! Yeah. Okay, so, it's a good use of negative space. Yeah, I didn't want to keep it, like, too, empty, you know, on some parts. So I went with this. Is this on Notepad++? It's on Sublime. It is on Sublime. How about you? Oh, my day was okay. You know, the usual Monday workload and stuff. But anyway, yeah, this is Sublime. I don't know how I'm gonna go about this. Dinner check. Today was a day. It truly was one of the days. I had a pork chop for dinner and rice. So there is that. All right. So I was taking a look at the subreddit for No Sleep, right? Yeah, actually I was looking at like the top ranked of all time, and honestly there are like a lot of stuff here. So I'm honestly gonna try to like read a lot. There is going to be like a lot, basically. Like some of them might even be way too long. And the last time I actually read like No Sleep was, I don't know, maybe like years ago. You guys remember Boraska? Yeah. No Sleep November. It's just the start of November. You guys need your sleep. But anyway, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, well, hello, welcome to the stream. I was just listening to the No Sleep podcast just now. Yeah, so the last time the last time I read No Sleep was like years ago. So I have no idea what's the popular stuff here now, and if it even is like scary as hell. But I'm pretty sure just because it's like top rated, it would be like it would probably tickle a funny bone or something. Haven't browsed that subreddit at all. To be fair, I didn't want to browse it as much because that might like spoil me, you know? It would either be really good or really memey. It depends. Yeah, I saw something with like really high what's that, what do you call it? It's not karma, like upvotes. I had a lot of upvotes. So apparently, so like, okay, just for people who aren't aware of what No Sleep is. So No Sleep, upvotes, updates. Yeah, so No Sleep is a subreddit that is a place for Redditors to submit their own scary personal experiences. So it's basically like people share crazy things that happen to them, and I guess it's something that makes you scared and won't let you sleep at night because it's scary. Oh, I'm so scared. Gecko, thank you so much for being a member for 5 months. That was definitely a jump scare. Okay, so yeah, I'm gonna select the top of all time. And the first one is actually something with like 63,000 63,000 upvotes. But it's scary. Reading stream, pero wala yung glasses. No, I will have my glasses. Don't worry. I'm gonna put it on right now. Ta-da! It's time to get started. Yeah, 63K is a big number, but it has a weird title. It has a weird title, so I'm not sure. I'm not sure if it's going to be like scary. Somehow Miria without glasses is uncanny. Huh? Okay, this one is called My Sugar Daddy Asks Me for Weird Favors. And it's been posted like 3 years ago. So literally no idea how this is going to go, but this is like the toppest one on the subreddit. So like I'm sure there must be something here, you know? There must be something here that's like scary. At the very least, you know. I hope I can survive at least. I'm pretty sure it's not gonna be that scary. Like the last time I read something from NOSLEEP was during the first horror stream. You guys remember Return to Sender? That was from NOSLEEP. That was from NOSLEEP. If you guys remember Return to Sender. My fave are the stairs in the forest. Miri's nose. Miri's nose. If it's in chat, then it must exist, right? Konban Miria, yeah. Hello. All right, so let's what's the summary of Return to Sender again? Some guy was a vlogger and he decided to mail himself across the entire cross country states, and then he died because he got sent back to his house, but then his roommate mishandled his box. And apparently because he dropped the box, the guy inside the box died, and then he was stuck there for like a while. Yeah, that was the scariest one that I think I read during that previous stream. So yeah, I don't know if you hear the ambient sound. Yeah, it was a broken neck and then he died. I don't know if you guys hear the ambient like horror-y sound effects I have right now. So yeah. Okay, apparently there's like part 2 for this, so I guess this is gonna be a long one. Please don't let there be part 3. Alright. There are only 2 parts for this one. Okay. The silence is scary. It's not very audible. Okay, then I'll make it louder. I will make it louder. Woof, 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 woof. Oh, so I've been speaking in silence ever since. It's scary because it could happen IRL. It could happen IRL if you if you box yourself in. Like, you're not even supposed to put yourself into a box, you know? You're not even supposed to put yourself into a box. Alright, how about this? Can you guys hear it now? It can't happen IRL as long as you don't put yourself in a box. Ayun, hey. Alright, it's not too loud. Lower a bit. Okay. Ah, there we go. I think this might be the sweet spot. Nagulat ako. Same. I remember you tweeting about a box. No, the box from before, the one I was scared, like it was in front of my apartment. Yeah, that is not like a dead body. I would be really scared. There we go. Yeah, this is the same BGM I used like last time. All right, so I will be pasting. This is a lot actually. This is a lot. It has a part 2. You're not supposed to put yourself into a box, but you're not also supposed to bite soap. But here we are. To be fair, that guy is dead, and I am still alive. Therefore, I win. Yeah. JT Express for speedrun spoopy hours. Imagine if LBC, FedEx, UPS, Amazon agreed to ship live people. I don't even think they ship livestock, right? Like, you would have to... Right? Miria 1 box, guys. Yes, I am alive. Guys, come on. Alright. Okay, so this is gonna be it. It's a really long one, so bear with me. Okay. Lala move, not uncuss. Okay, are you guys ready? I will be taking this seriously. So, please do. What if you're actually not Miria? Oh, you would hear the difference if it were not Miria. Last reading she was 10 months ago. Yeah, I did it in December. On December. Alright, I will start reading. Alright, so good luck to us. This is the highest rated. Wait, what am I saying? The highest upvoted thing on the subreddit as of all time. Alright. So the title is My Sugar Daddy Asks Me for Weird Favors. It's a series. His Tinder profile said he was 45, but he looked to be in his early 30s at most. Looking for a sugar baby, $700 weekly, no sex. It sounded too good to be true, but as a broke university student, I was willing to take my chances. I swiped right, and Tinder let me know it was a match. His message came seconds later. Hey there, sweetheart. I cringed at that word. I hated it, but $700 was $700. So I sucked it up and replied, hey. His name was Jack, and he told me he owned his own business, although he never specified what kind of business it was. We talked for a while before he asked me for my Venmo to send me the first payment. After a few minutes, I got the notification. I stared at the $700 for at least 20 minutes, expecting to wake up from a dream at any second. But it wasn't a dream. You still there? I clicked on the message. Yeah, sorry. If you don't mind me asking, what are you looking for in return? I stared at the chat until he replied. I'm just looking for you to do a few favors for me. That sounded like it was going to be sexual to me. Like what? For example, the first thing I need you to do is pick up a delivery for me. That sounded innocent enough, but I was still expecting there to be some kind of twist. $700 to pick up a package? Come on, even I wasn't that naive. From the post office or something? No. I'll send you the address, but I'd rather not do this through Tinder. You got Kick? Or you could give me my number. Your number. Kick? What was this, 2011? I decided to give him my number instead, and he texted me the address immediately, followed by the address to his house where I would have to drop off the package. I'm not home right now, but there's a key on the bottom of the blue flower pot near the door. Go inside and put the package on the coffee table in the living room. Make sure that you lock the door when you go inside the house, then lock it again when you leave. I grabbed my car keys and wallet and got into my car, putting the address into Google Maps. Got it, on my way. My phone buzzed as I backed out of my driveway. I'm serious. Lock the door both times, please. I thought that was a little excessive, but I promised him that I would. The house looked abandoned. It had a broken chain link fence around it with a small door that was hanging onto dear life. It stuck out like a sore thumb, surrounded by houses that were a lot nicer than this one in comparison. You here for jack shit? I looked up to see a man standing in the open doorway of the house. He took up almost the entire space, his head skimming the top of the doorframe. He was huge in height and muscles, and his entire torso was covered in tattoos. Yeah, I guess, I replied, not moving from my spot on the sidewalk. Stay right there, he said. I did. I actually don't think I would have moved if he asked me to. I looked around and realized that there was no one else on the street. I was a 21-year-old woman alone in the street. I gripped my car keys. A few minutes later, the man came out carrying a cardboard box. It was about the size of a shoebox, but stained and damp on some of the corners. Can you open your car? He asked. I opened the trunk, not wanting that inside on my car seats, and he set it in. Alright, there you go, he said. Thanks, I replied. I walked around to the driver's side of the car and opened the door. Oh, and one more thing, he said. I looked at him. Watch out, he said. I didn't reply. I blasted my music as I drove to Jack's house, hoping it would drown out my anxiety. It didn't. I parked my car in the stone driveway and stayed inside the car, admiring the house. It was a huge house with stone pillars on the front porch and the greenest grass I had ever seen in my life. I turned the car off and got out. I grabbed the package and walked to the front door, getting the key from where he said it would be. I opened the door and stepped in, closing it behind me. I thought about what he had said, about locking the door when I got inside. I thought that was a little overboard, but as I stared at the closed door, something made me reach out and lock it. I walked inside, my feet cushioned by the thick maroon carpet, and admired the inside of the house. All the furniture was wooden and looked incredibly expensive. I would probably finish school a dozen times with the money that it took to furnish this place. I set the package down on the coffee table, and as I walked back to the door, I heard a phone ringing from somewhere inside the house. I froze. In my pocket, my phone buzzed. I took it out to look. Don't answer any calls that aren't from Marvin. I put my phone back and followed the sound of the phone, poking my head into a few different rooms before I found it in an office. I walked over to the desk and looked at the caller ID. Incoming call from Jack. That was odd. I grabbed my phone to look at the message again. I was starting to get a little creeped out and decided I wouldn't answer, just to be safe, and left the house, remembering to lock the door as I left. I've done a few more favors for Jack since then. I drove a BMW to a random park in another city, only to get out and drive a different car back to Jack's house. He had me meet one of his employees at lunch, who then gave me a briefcase to deliver to the first house I had gone to and told me he would know if I looked inside. On several occasions, he asked me to drive down to the same house and stay with the guy, whose name was Julio, for a certain amount of time. In total, I've made around $3,500. Most recently, Jack asked me to stay in his house overnight. I woke up to a text message from him. I need you to spend the night at my house. I hadn't ever seen him in person, but I had talked to him on the phone a few times. He proceeded to tell me he would pay me $1,000 to spend the night at his house, provided that I followed a few rules. I drove to his house that evening. The driveway was empty, and it normally was, but the porch light was on. I walked up, unlocked the door, went inside, and then locked it again. Everything in the house looked the same. Jack had told me over the phone that he would leave the list of rules on the dining room table. I set all of my stuff down in the living room. My bags looked like garbage compared to the fancy furniture in there. I wandered into the kitchen and then to the dining room. Sure enough, there was a piece of paper on the wooden table, held down by an empty glass. Lock the door when you come in. Only answer calls from Marvin. Don't turn on any faucets between 9 p.m. and 11 p.m. Don't open the door for anyone, no matter who they say they are, after 10 p.m. If the door to the closet at the end of the hall is open, sleep in the library. If closed, sleep in any of the bedrooms. The gardener comes at midnight. If he starts knocking on the window, hide. Turn the TV on and let it play on static through the night. Do not forget to do this. Help yourself to anything in the fridge. I'll pay you in the morning. Good night. Okay. I made sure to follow all the rules. To be honest, I was regretting my decision. But seeing as I was already here, I was getting paid, I decided to stay anyway. I figured as long as I followed all of the rules, I'd be perfectly fine. Still, it felt a little odd. What was this? A haunted house? Nevertheless, I lounged around the house for a few hours as I was planning on going to sleep around 9, since that's the time that all of the weird shit would begin to happen. At 8:50, I brushed my teeth using the faucet for the last time before 9. I checked the closet in the hallway, and upon seeing that it was open, I moved my stuff into the library and got ready to sleep on the couch. I locked the doors just in case and laid on the couch, scrolling through my phone. I hadn't gotten any more messages from Jack, and I started to think up scenarios and reasons as to why he had such strict, peculiar sets of rules in his house. I had dozed off at some point because at exactly 10:16 p.m., I was woken up by the doorbell ringing. I was about to get up to check, but then I remembered the rule. Don't open the door for anyone, no matter who they say they are, after 10 p.m. I stayed on the couch, trying not to move, paranoid that they would hear even the slightest sound. It's the police. Open up. I didn't move. Hello? It's the police. Open up or we're coming in. I still didn't move, but I could hear my heartbeat in my ears. There was silence for a while after that. Then the doorbell rang again. Hey, it's Jack. Let me in. It sounded like Jack, but still, I didn't get up. He would have a key, wouldn't he? Why would he need me to let him in? This continued for almost a full hour. Different people would ring the doorbell, announce themselves, and then disappear when I didn't respond. I was finally able to fall asleep and the gardener never came. When I woke up the next morning, I heard someone in the kitchen. I got up slowly and unlocked the door as quietly as possible, taking my phone with me and walking across the living room into the kitchen. I stopped at the entrance and peered in. It was Jack. He was standing in front of the stove, stirring something as the coffee machine brewed coffee on the counter behind him. Hey, good morning, he said when he saw me. Hi, I replied, nervous. I hadn't seen him in person before, but he looked exactly like his pictures online. Scrambled eggs? He asked, motioning to the pan with a wooden spoon. Yeah, thanks, I replied, walking over to take the plate from him. I ate my breakfast and drank some coffee in silence. So, how was it? He asked. It was okay. Nothing super freaky happened, I replied. Cool. There was an awkwardness in the room. I think I'm gonna go now. I have class, I trailed off. I didn't, but I really wanted to get out of there. Oh, no, yeah, sure. I'll talk to you some other time, he replied. I grabbed my stuff and he walked me to my car. I could see him standing in the driveway staring at me as I left. When I got home, I unpacked all my stuff and noticed that I still had the list with me. I sat on my bed and read it again. I felt my body tense up as I realized that I had forgotten something. Turn the TV on and let it play on static through the night. Do not forget to do this. Turn the TV on and let it play static through the night. Do not forget to do this. Do not forget to do this. I stared at the words on the page until they lost meaning. Beside me, my phone buzzed, snapping me back to reality. It was the $1,000 payment. I looked at my phone and then back at the list. Maybe it wasn't an important step? As I was thinking this over, a text from Jack came in. I'm not in town right now. I should be back next week, so you're free from running any more errands for me until then. Just sent the payment. Go do something fun. I stared at the message and read it again and again, and once more for good measure. I'm not in town right now. I thought back to this morning and how Jack was in his house. How he gave me breakfast. I'm not in town right now. Within minutes, a new text came in, this time from a number that I didn't recognize. Did you forget to do something? The text was followed by a picture of Jack, or whoever this version of Jack was, standing in front of the TV. I didn't respond. Next came another picture. This one was of the outside of my house. It was followed by another text. Watch out. Okay, that is the end of part 1. And as I was reading it, I was getting goosebumps. There is a part 2. There is a part 2 to this. Who was the one that said watch out? It was the guy, right? It was the guy. Yeah, it has a part 2. Yeah. Okay, do you guys wanna process what I missed? Hi, welcome. We're doing Reddit NOSLEEP read along, I guess. Yeah, it was the muscly tattooed guy. How many parts is this exactly? According to Reddit, two parts. Yeah. Okay, I really felt it, and I was trying to not show it as much when I was reading, because that was spooky. Yeah, I legitimately got goosebumps. Miria, did you forget something? No, I didn't forget to press unmute. Lucky doors twice. I have 3 locks on my door. I'm scared. I'm really scared. I wonder if it's gonna go the realistic route or if it'll turn out to be supernatural. Honestly, I'm really scared. I don't know what's gonna happen because I've never read this. Also, Nate the Great, thank you so much for the super chat. I can't afford $700, so this is the best I can do. Yeah, okay. Oh, that was honestly really long. That was 263 lines on Sublime. Don't use the faucet. Damn, I can't wash my face. Are these doppelgangers? Okay, we're gonna continue. I'm gonna get the second part. So give me a second. This is part 2, right? Yeah, this is part 2. Alright. My sugar daddy asks me for Weird Favors Part 2 series. So I'm gonna get it. And I'm gonna paste it here. Better prepare some salt. Will salt stop you? I mean, stop people. Are we reading comments after? I guess we can if we still haven't figured it out. Honestly, a smart person would have dipped out after the first payment or not swipe right at all. Alright, here we go. There's a big chunk of text for all of you. Like, part 1 doesn't exist because this is like a hyperlink. So I'll delete that just so that it's not confusing. Alright, imagine that it ended like that. Honestly, it could have ended like that and I'd still be scared. Right? So this is part 2 and let's continue. I'm nervous though. Alright. This is a continuation of the one that we read earlier. This is part 2. I didn't leave my house for almost an entire week. The only reason I didn't stay indoors for longer is that I had an important exam in one of my classes that I absolutely had to be present for. That also didn't help with the anxiety I was feeling. As I drove to campus, I kept my eyes glued to my surroundings, almost running 2 stop signs and a red light. I kept expecting Jack, or fake Jack I suppose, to pop out randomly on the side of the road, or in the car next to me or the car behind me. I constantly glanced at my rearview mirror, trying to figure out if the black truck behind me had been there this whole time, or if it was different than the one I had seen 10 minutes ago. I hadn't told him where I went to school, so maybe he wouldn't know. Then again, I hadn't told him where I lived either, and he seemed to figure that one out rather quickly. I hadn't texted the real Jack since the incident had happened. I mean, I didn't even know what I was supposed to say. Oops, I didn't follow all of your rules and now there's a weird look-alike of yours running around the city. My plan, as foolish as it was to act as if all was well. I wasn't going to stir the pot by telling him I had already fucked up, so instead, I was going to wait until he realized that something was wrong. Hopefully, he wouldn't. I will admit that not telling him was more difficult than I had thought, and I found myself constantly checking my phone for texts from Jack, but none appeared. I finished my exam that day, sure that I had failed due to my lack of focus, and drove back home, where I found Julio standing in my driveway. He was looking down at his phone, and I attempted to keep driving down the street before he saw me, but I wasn't fast enough. He glanced and began walking towards my car as I slowly pulled into the driveway, locking my doors and trying to remain calm. Instead of shifting into park, I kept my foot on the brake and shifted into reverse, fully ready in case I needed to make a quick getaway. I sat in the driver's seat looking forward at my front door. I wondered for a second if I would be able to get inside and lock the door before Julio got to me. Suddenly, he leaned down and knocked on the window, making me jump. I turned to look at him and said nothing. "Roll your window down," he said, motioning for me to lower the window. I pressed the button for a split second, making only a tiny crack of open space. "You know, it's not me you should be afraid of." I looked at him and glanced at my rearview mirror, trying to see if any of my neighbors were outside. But they weren't, and I was alone, with no witnesses. "You fucked it up," he said, leaning against my car. "I told you to watch out and you didn't. You managed to fuck up the rules in one night. They always miss at least one." "They?" I looked up at him, but said nothing, because I honestly had no clue what to say. "Get out of the car, we're going inside." He tapped his hand on the roof of my car and walked towards my front door. I thought about driving away, but I wasn't sure where I would go, and a part of me wanted to hear him out. So I found myself parking the car, turning off the engine, and letting Julio into my house. He took a seat on my couch and glanced around my living room. "This is fancy for a college student. You buy this with Jack's money?" he asked. I rolled my eyes as I stood in front of him. "Why did you want to come in?" "Alright, touchy subject," he said, shrugging. "I need to talk to you about Jack." Which Jack? The one I've been talking to? Or the one who appeared in the house? What? He snapped, leaning over and resting his elbows on his knees. What? What do you mean, the one who appeared in the house? Jack isn't back yet. I came here to tell you that you forgot to lock the door after your little house-sitting gig, which Jack won't be pleased about. He's very particular about his stuff. He's gotten rid of girls for much pettier shit than this. Huh? I said nothing and stared at Julio for a while he stared back, waiting for me to explain myself. His use of the words "gotten rid of" made me nervous, and I wondered what he meant by that. Surely he wouldn't kill me over a mistake, right? Was there someone else in the house? He asked after a few seconds of silence. Jack was in the house that morning before I left. How do you suppose that happened? Because Jack hasn't come back from his trip yet. I shrugged, not really knowing what to say. Julio stood up, sighing in annoyance. Fine, you know what? I originally came over here to ask you for a share of the cash you got for your poor house-sitting job, but it seems to me that you probably fucked up more than I originally thought. So I'm just gonna stay out of whatever this is. Good luck. He walked over and opened my front door, waving to me as I left, leaving me standing in my empty house. I ran to the door and locked it as soon as he was gone and started to freak out once again. I thought about what I was gonna do if Jack came back from his trip and found out that I had messed up. What if Julio was right and someone had broken into the house and robbed him? Maybe I just thought I saw Jack, but maybe it was just some other stranger who looked like him. My mind was going a mile a minute as I tried to figure out what to do. I paced around my house for a few hours before I finally decided that I was going to drive back to Jack's house and make sure that no one had broken in. If they had, I would simply make an anonymous police report or something. Besides, the only way he would ever know that it was my fault would be if Julio snitched on me, which it didn't seem like he was planning on doing anymore. I made the drive over in silence, trying to control my breathing so that I didn't have to melt down on the highway. I finally pulled into the driveway and turned the engine off, but I couldn't work up the courage to get out of the car. I sat there for a few minutes staring at the giant house, trying to force myself to unbuckle my seatbelt, open the door, and get out of the car. The house, which once looked impressive, now made me feel anxious and out of place. I couldn't stop myself from imagining all sorts of horrible scenarios that I could stumble upon once I opened the door. I thought about how many possible hiding places there were in a house that large. I don't know how long I sat there before I finally decided to get out of the car and walk towards the front door. I hesitated for a few seconds before taking a deep breath and pushing the door open. Only it didn't open because it was locked. I assumed that Julio had probably locked it and looked for the key on my keychain. I unlocked the door and stepped into the living room, taking a look around. Oh God. Everything looked normal enough. There were no signs of breaking and entering or anything like that, and I was glad that Julio had come over and realized my mistake before someone else had. I closed the door behind me, this time double-checking that I locked it, and began to make my way further into the house. I went into the library first, which looked the same as it had when I left it. Next, I made my way through the living room, glancing around to see if anything was out of place, but nothing was. I was starting to feel better now that I had confirmed that no one had broken in and ruined the place. That feeling was short-lived, however. When I walked into the kitchen, it was a complete mess. Both the fridge and the freezer were wide open, all the containers of food emptied out. There were empty boxes of frozen foods tossed inside the freezer and on the kitchen floor. There were a few trays of meat that were laying out on the table and the counters, and some of the red juice from the meats had spilled inside the fridge and now dripped down onto the floor. I noticed that while there hadn't been much food in there in the first place, it was all gone. As I got closer to the fridge, I realized that it wasn't cool, and the light inside the fridge wasn't working either. I assumed that whoever ate all the food also unplugged it for some odd reason. I stepped over an empty carton of orange juice and an empty crate of eggs as I made my way towards the stove, where I found stacks of unwashed pans. One of them was still hot. Meaning that it had only recently been taken off of the burner. There were eggshells all over the counter, and I thought back to that morning when Jack, or whoever that was, had made me eggs for breakfast. I walked back out of the kitchen, careful not to step on the mess that littered the floor, and made my way down the hallway. I spotted the door at the end of the hall, and this time it was closed. As I continued to walk down the hall, I couldn't help but notice how eerily quiet it was in the house. I couldn't even hear the sound of the heater running. As I passed the thermostat in the hallway, I saw that it wasn't working, the screen was off, and there was nothing on it like it had been turned off or something. I leaned forward and pressed a few of the buttons, but none of them worked. I poked my head into the study, but that was also empty, although I did see that the landline had been used recently, and whoever used it didn't put it back. The handheld part was hanging off the side of the desk, and I stepped in, grabbing the phone and holding it up to my ear, but there was only silence. I put it back and followed the cord with my eyes. It was connected to the wall, but it seemed like there was no power in the house, which explained the refrigerator and the thermostat. I walked out of the study and headed down the hall again, but I froze in my tracks when I noticed that the door at the end of the hall was open now. Someone was in the house. I reached into my back pocket and grabbed my phone, checking to see if maybe I missed a text from Jack, but I had no signal inside the house. I held my phone in my hand anyway, hoping I'd pick up enough signal to call for help, and began to back away from the door, listening carefully for any footsteps that would let me know where the intruder was. As I spun around, I found myself face to face with Jack, or whoever it was that I was looking at. I knew he was the same man I had seen that morning, but no, I had no idea who he really was. "Sorry," I said, startled. "Which one are you?" he asked, squinting at me. He was dressed in a stained gray t-shirt and old pajama bottoms that looked like they had been purchased 30 years ago. "What?" I asked. "You're the new one, right? The one from the other day. You're the one who forgot to turn the television on." Yeah, I'm so sorry. I thought I was being careful. I didn't mean to..." I stopped talking as he started laughing. "Sorry?" he asked, grinning. "I should be thanking you." Who are you?" I asked him. I stared at his face and he looked exactly like Jack, but I couldn't figure out why he was here when he said he was still on his trip. I'm Jack," he replied as if he were stating the obvious. "But Jack said he wouldn't be back for a few days." His expression changed, and he narrowed his eyes at me. "Did he tell you when he would be back? The exact date?" I shook my head, confused, thinking about how I was going to get past this man and get out of this damn house. "But you can ask him, right?" I don't know. He hasn't contacted me in a few days. Damn it, I was hoping it wouldn't be that bad. Can you explain to me what the hell is going on? You shouldn't have come back here. Something felt off to me and chills shook my entire body. Part of me regretted not going with my original plan of acting like everything was okay. I didn't want to stay in the house any longer, and there was really nothing that I could do anyway. Besides, I was getting a bad feeling from this guy claiming to be Jack. I slowly stepped past him, glancing back behind me as I continued to walk into the living room and towards the front door. I found myself walking faster and faster until I was basically running and throwing myself at the front door. I couldn't help but shake the feeling that something bad was going to happen if I stayed in this house any longer. I unlocked the door, but just as I was about to open it, I heard the lock slide back into place, only it sounded a lot louder than usual. I jiggled the doorknob and realized that while the doorknob wasn't locked, something else was, and it was keeping me from opening the door. I began to freak out as I pulled on the door urgently, trying to get it to open, but something was keeping it shut. What the fuck? I glanced towards the hall as I heard another noise, but I quickly realized that it was the sound of air flowing through the vents. It seemed like the power was back and somehow some sort of security system had activated at the same time. I looked down at my phone, and not only did I have signal now, but I also had 3 messages from Jack. I'm back. What happened? I know you're in the house. I looked around the room, trying to find him, or any security cameras in the room that would be alerting him of my presence in the house. I didn't see any and grabbed my phone to text him back. Are you here? I held my phone in my hands as I made my way back towards the hallway to find the other Jack that I had seen earlier. If he even was another Jack, maybe this was all the same person. And he was just messing with me for some reason. A part of me thought that perhaps I deserved all of this for doing all of this in the first place. I mean, why was I so quick to agree to run random errands for a random man that I have never met? Sure, I needed the money, but going into a stranger's house has got to be on the list of top 10 dumbest things you could ever do, especially considering the fact that no one knew where I was and I didn't have a weapon to defend myself if I needed to. I stood in front of the closed door for a second before making my way over to a window. I tried to open it, but the security system had locked the window shut as well. I thought about breaking the window open, and I grabbed a sturdy-looking vase. I took a few steps back, and then I threw it at the window as hard as I could. The vase shattered as it made contact with the window glass, but the window was fine, unscratched. The only way I was getting out of here was through the door, but first I had to disarm the security system somehow. I walked back to where I'd left Jack, but he was gone and nowhere to be found. Jack? I called, my voice echoing throughout the house. The door at the end of the hall was closed once again, and I began to walk towards it, peeking into each room as I passed it, but there was no one else in the house. As I reached the door, my phone buzzed in my hand. You were supposed to follow the rules. I stood in front of the door, trying to work up the courage to open it and see what was in the room. I know. I'm sorry. I came back to make sure everything was okay. I reached out and grabbed the doorknob, taking deep breaths. The buzzing in my hand startled me, and I ignored it as I turned the doorknob and pulled the door open. I stood in the threshold at the top of a wooden staircase. Below, it was a badly lit basement. I slowly walked down the stairs, glancing at my phone. You should have stayed away. You're really gonna regret this. I didn't reply and kept walking until I was at the bottom of the stairs, Well, I wasn't sure what I was expecting. It wasn't the normal-looking basement apartment that I had stumbled into. I found Jack sitting on the couch against one of the walls. He was reading a magazine and glanced up on me when he heard me step off the stairs. "What are you doing?" He shot to his feet as he shouted at me. "The door locked. I can't get out." "You're so fucking stupid." "That's rude. How was I supposed to know the doors would lock when the power came back on?" "You weren't supposed to come back." I wanted to make sure everything was fine." "Who cares? You got $1,000 for house sitting. Why didn't you take it and leave?" "Why are you so angry? Why are you even here? You're clearly not Jack." "How do you know?" "What?" "How do you know I'm not Jack? I look like the pictures you've seen, don't I?" Yeah, but Jack is on vacation." "How do you know?" What are you talking about?" "Have you ever met Jack in person? Have you ever talked to him on the phone, video call, anything other than a text message every few days?" I didn't reply, staring at him. He was right. He did look exactly like the photos I'd seen on the Tinder profile. "That's what I thought." He replied to my silence. What are you saying exactly?" I heard my phone buzz once again. "How do you know that the person you've been talking to is a real person? As a matter of fact, how do you know that it's not me? Maybe it was my plan all along, to lure you here." At this point, it finally hit me. He was right. I didn't know if I was talking to a real person. All that I was doing, random favors for someone with an internet profile who wanted to pay me money to do these things for some reason. I guess I always felt that there was something off about a sugar daddy who was willing to pay someone to do things other than having sex with them, but I needed the money too badly to spend too much time questioning it. I was feeling even more scared now, and my palms were cold and sweaty as I stood there, waiting for him to do something. I could run back upstairs, but I didn't think I was fast enough to get out of there and find something to jam the door and keep him downstairs. I took a shaky breath as I tried my hardest not to make it seem like I was scared. If Jack was dangerous, I didn't want to alert him of my plans to try and run. After a few seconds of silence, I glanced down at my phone to read the most recent text, but there were no new notifications. "That wasn't your phone," Jack said, breaking the silence. I looked up at him and glanced at the phone sitting on a nearby table. Suddenly, he jumped towards me, and I attempted to jump out of the way, but I was too slow. I saw Jack grab my arms and my phone fell out of my hands, and then everything went black. Huh? When I came to, I was on the living room couch, and Jack was standing above me looking down. "What happened?" I asked. I attempted to sit up, but I noticed that I was incredibly dizzy, and my left arm felt sore when I tried to prop myself up. I remembered Jack grabbing me earlier, and I figured he gripped my arm too tight and must have bruised it in the process. "You're finally up. Good." I slowly managed to sit up, wincing as I put weight on my left arm. I looked up at Jack, who was now standing a few feet away with a bandage wrapped around his right bicep. "What happened?" Looking at the bandage, noticing that there was blood seeping through. "You really shouldn't have come back." I tried to shift my position on the couch and winced in pain as I put weight on my left arm again. I turned to look at it, trying to see if I had injured it somehow, and noticed that it was also wrapped in a bandage similar to Jack's. "What happened?" I repeated, looking down at my arm. I slowly reached over and started to unwrap the bandage until it came off, and I was left staring at crudely done stitches on the inside of my bicep. "What the fuck is this?" I snapped, looking at him. "Sorry, Ivy, but you really shouldn't have come back, although I'm kinda glad you did. I didn't really want to do this, but I need to get out of here." He began to back away from me, heading towards the front door. I watched as he easily opened it and wondered how he disabled the lock if he had been the one to activate it in the first place. He stepped out of the door and turned back to look at me. "Good luck. I helped you out a bit while you were out," he said, motioning towards my phone, which he had set down on the couch next to me. I stood up and went after him. Surprisingly, he didn't try to run or back up and simply stood about a foot away from the door, watching me. As I attempted to step outside, a stabbing pain erupted in my left arm, traveling through the rest of my body until I felt like I was being stabbed everywhere at once. I fell to the floor, crying out in pain. Once I was back in the house, the pain went away, and I laid on the floor shaking in the aftermath as I stared up at Jack. "What did you do to me?" "I had to get out. It's been 8 months. I'm sorry. You were just the first one to come back this time. I'm sure you were a good person, but I'm sorry. I can't be here." "You're just going to leave me here?" "Julio will come by to give you food. And by the way, don't try to cut that thing out of your arm. This place is covered in cameras. If you do anything suspicious, Julio will see you, and he won't hesitate to stop you. I learned that the hard way." I didn't know what to say, and I stood there in shock as I watched Jack walk over my car and get in it, starting the engine and disappearing down the street. I finally shut the front door and locked it, turning back to face the empty house. I glanced at my phone, which was still on the couch, and remembered what Jack said before he left. I walked over, trying not to move my arm too much as I picked it up and turned it on. My Tinder profile was open, only it had been changed, and now my profile bio read, "Looking for a sugar baby, $700 weekly, no sex." On the table next to it, there was a list of house-sitting rules, similar to the ones that I had found on the day that I had been there. On the bottom of the page, there was a lime green sticky note that read, "Sorry, I hope you're able to get out soon. Don't worry, maybe you won't be here for long. They almost always forget one of the rules. Good luck, Jack." I think that's it. I think that's everything. No eldritch entity. Yeah. Okay. So this is why he made that. The rules were a diversion and the house is evil. Bakit sila pipigilan ni Julio? So I think Julio really is the mastermind. But what about him? What a weird way to end it. Yeah. I don't know how to feel about it. All he had to do was follow the damn instructions. I know. What if Julio was just a caretaker, a minion of the house? Why did the TV need to be on? This is why you shouldn't go on dating apps. The house is the overall evil. Okay, let's try to process this a little bit. In the end, they did go the supernatural way. Yeah, okay, like, there's probably a weird rich guy and Julio is in on it. Plot holes. Who was knocking? Okay, here's the thing. What I feel like the rules were for, right, was so that... Why use Tinder if you have Cometa to watch? Alright, she survived. Okay, so like, here's the thing that I feel like I picked up on when I was reading the entire story. Okay, so like, I think the rules were there, and the rules were so overly complicated so that someone is bound to get it wrong. Yeah, the rules are there to confuse someone, and someone will most likely end up making a mistake that starts the cycle all over again, right? It's not that the TV needed to be on. The rules were there so that the sugar baby would panic and go back and check on the house. Yeah, it seems like that was the case. It wasn't so much so that those rules had any specific implications, right? Huh. What did Jack put on Ivy? An RFID? It might be a chip or something. Like a chip that activates with a shocker thingy. Like an electric collar, but it's embedded into your bicep. Would be neat if the next sugar person gets to add another rule. Huh, okay. Alright, so I'm reading through the comments, right? Yeah, it's like a house arrest collar, which is kind of freaky on its own way, right? Jack was taking selfies outside Ivy's house. Yeah, that doesn't make sense though, because there was a Jack in the Ivy house, right? So, yeah. It is painful getting electrocuted by something. Yung mag-ground ka nga lang, sobrang sakit na nun eh. Yeah, okay. So, like, I don't... What? There are plot holes. It was the house playing tricks on her, but how? I don't think... Okay, I'm not sure how Tinder works, okay? I'm not sure how Tinder works. Do you have to put your... Do you have to put your address or something? Jack used Photoshop. There was no second Jack. It's an evil house. Okay, like, I'm not sure how Tinder works. Do you have to put your address there? No? No, okay. So then how did Julio find Ivy's house? Ito na naman yung maganda yung part 1, tapos biglang Picasso drawing yung part 2. No address but general location. Unless Julio is pretending to be Jack. Okay, to be fair, here's the thing. I guess maybe she could have been followed at some point. Tinder needs your geolocation. Oh. Sa chat kayo mag-uusap over that. Ano yun? Yeah, no address but GPS. I see. So maybe because she just drives the same damn car, you know? Maybe at some point it was pretty obvious. Wasn't it mentioned in part 1 that Julio and Ivy slept together at some point? Did they? Did they? What the fuck? I'm gonna check it out. Ah. Where is it? Parang wala naman. I don't remember. Wala. She didn't sleep with someone, I think. Oh, yeah, she did. She did. Oh, nasa part 1. It's in part 1. It's in part 1. So, like, let me zoom in on the appropriate section. I think it's this one. I think it's here. Here. I don't know if you guys can see my highlights. Oh, you can. Yeah. Alright. So, in this part, it says, on several occasions, he asked me to drive down to that same house and stay with a guy whose name was Julio for a certain amount of time. This is in part 1. Yeah. So, Julio must have been very familiar at that point. Yeah, stay with, not sleep. Context. Yeah, it wasn't a full-on sleepover at that point. The first sleepover was the overnight thing. Okay. Locking the door. Meet one of his employees at lunch, who then gave me a briefcase to deliver to the first house I had gone into and told me he would know if I looked inside. Yeah, there it was. Yeah. Okay. Can the BGM take a break? Okay, let me turn that off. I don't know if this is gonna... Okay. Lock the door when you come in. Only answer calls from Marvin. Don't turn on any faucets. Yeah, I think these things only exist... these things only exist to kind of like stress you out because you have to remember a lot of things. I feel like that's how it works. Yeah. Kinda like that. A bit loud? Sorry. There you go. Who the heck was Marvin? I don't know. I think I got it. This is the top post in No Sleep because it kept the readers awake from all the plot holes, inconsistencies, and questions. Yeah, there would be a lot of discussion. Who were the people knocking over for an hour? I think it was just a way to like freak you out, and then because you're freaked out, you're gonna miss one of the rules and stuff. Marvin was never shown, right? There was never a Marvin. Yeah, okay, I'll look at the comments. Like, why is this in the Why is this here? Alright. You forgot 2 rules. You actually forgot the TV and you didn't lock the door behind you when you left. It was why the fake Jack was able to follow you. But he wouldn't... Okay, if we look at part 2, right? Yeah, nasa yung gardener na 12 midnight lang nagpapakita. Nakakatok sa bintana, right? It's like, scary. But wouldn't it be weird to lock the door if Jack came out with her car to say goodbye? Oh. Oh, shit. Fake Jack was likely the gardener, according to the comments. Ah. OP, I love how you follow all the rules. Except for that last one. Watch out. Okay. I love that you can help yourself to anything in the fridge. So sweet. Yeah, Marvin was probably just there to confuse. You add a lot of names, you add a lot of rules, and you're gonna start wondering, oh, did I actually miss out on something? Huh. All I want to know is where the fuck is Marvin? What show is out? Get Out. Didn't we watch Get Out? Did we watch Get Out in the members only watch? No, we haven't. I don't remember. Man. I'll do you one better. Why is Marvin? Okay, I'm looking at upvoted comments. We did? Oh my god, we did. Yeah, we did. We have watched Get Out. Okay, cool. I am forgetful. Wait, I need to plug my charger in for my phone. Otherwise, I will stop moving. Pretty sure we did. Oh my god, my memory is dying. Okay. I just need to get my charger. But, okay, so here's the thing. Were you at all, like, that's how you forgot the rules, Miria? Yeah, if I were the person there, I would have forgotten one thing. I honestly would have forgotten something. And I can't even fault myself for it, because I know that I'm just like, you know, a mess waiting to happen. What if we didn't watch it? I don't know. I know we did. She forgot. None of these rules have contradicting conditions, so in theory you can literally just satisfy all the rules at once. Yeah, it's true. Alright, my phone is plugged. Huh, what is the... Where are all the... Tell Jack that I want some eggs. To be honest, I would have been so paranoid, I would have kept reading through the list all night. I would. Were you scared? Were you guys scared? Maybe this is not the Miria who watched it with us. We watched it with a different Miria. It was a fake Miria who... No! She could have made her life easier by making a checklist on her phone. Yeah, nah. Alright, so personally, I was spooked, I guess. I was really more petrified when I was reading through... When I was reading through the first part. Yeah. I thought it was like really like eldritch or something, but no, it's just like, oh, I got bio implanted with an implant chip or something. Part 1 was good though. Part 1 was good. At part 1, I was really scared. But part 2 was confusing when the original didn't need a sequel. Yeah. I felt it in part 1 when someone appeared in her house, at the front door of her house. Also, Jazz Frost, thank you so much for joining the consultant team. Thank you for joining the consultant team. We are happy to have you here. Please don't forget to look at the first ever membership stream to know what it's all about and for a shiny surprise. Honestly, I would never take... Okay, wait, to be fair, $700? That is a... that is a tempting amount of cash. That is a tempting amount of cash. What, $700 is like... How much is $700? Let's convert USD to PHP. Alright, $700. It's like 40,000 pesos! Bro, what can I buy with that? Yo! Jack Frost has already tagged you, Miria. No! I would do worse for less. Yeah. Tama si Jack, dapat di na siya bumalik. Oo nga eh, she should have known. A 3080. $700 and no segs. Bro, $20 is $20. Pang down na sa bahay. Ganun ba kamura ang bahay? But like, yeah, okay, like, honestly, she shouldn't have come back. I mean, they were right, you know? Like, bro, you know shit was about to hit the fan. That's literally how you end up as a meal, but it's 41,000 pesos. 40,000 PHP is 16 red super chats if I'm not mistaken. PS5 and a couple of games, but in a laptop. For a condo, I see. Yeah, it's like, crap. I mean, okay. I, for one, would not be looking for ads to be a sugar baby. But like, would you see? I don't know. There were a lot of red flags, right? There were a lot of red flags. If the one thing that you being this kind of thing, right? Like, you were asked to be a sugar baby and there's no seggies. No seggies, right? So like, it sounds pretty sus. I don't know. I think that's how it normally works, right? Do you want to make quick $700? No thanks. I don't want to be stuck in this conundrum. If it's too good to be true, then it probably is. It's like the commonest of all common senses. Miria, she's in a horror story, so common sense of the people is out of the window. That's true. That's true. It was made for the story, I guess. Let me read the comments on. Let me read the comments on here. On the second part, OP has been trapped for a year. I hope someone can help her. Okay, so I read parts 1 and 2. Okay, this is from a Redditor, right? I read parts 1 and 2, and I understand that the list of rules was so strange because it would make it easier to forget one of them, thus forcing the victim to come back out of guilt, leaving themselves vulnerable to be caught and made the new prisoner. However, I have just a few questions. Who was knocking on the door saying they were different people? Where did Jack get the money to pay her? How did he make her black out in the basement? Why didn't he just do it in the morning when she was eating? Why the fuck did he destroy the kitchen? Why was the power off then back on after she woke up? And most importantly, how did he walk her to her car if the chip or whatever was in his arm? No. Most importantly, who the fuck is Marvin? Right? Yeah, plot holes. Thank you for pointing that out. This Redditor got a lot of upvotes for this question. The guy probably just wanted huggies. In part 1 where she was delivering a parcel, I was already expecting something like drugs, chopped up body parts. Yeah, there was a lot of description for that little box. Like, it was damp on the corners. No plot holes if you consider the house is cursed. Yeah, that's true. Dude was an investigator. Yeah, he can go outside. So like, what was that all about? Yeah, I think part 1 was enough. Part 1 would have been enough. Alright, so there's this other Redditor that says, if he was a prisoner, why didn't he say something the first time? She could be the one that went to the police. Why would they have two victims spend the night at the house together? Why did he even let her go the first time? Why was Julio warning her if it was him all along? And how if there's a camera everywhere? Did Jack drug and operate? Is Julio okay with this? Okay, I heard my window scratch really quickly and I freaked out. Oh my god. Okay, that was a dog. Nagulat ako dun, putang ina. It was just my window. Yo. I'm jumpy. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Watch out. Okay, I'm fine. I'm totally fine. Oh my god. Tinami mo kami sa gulo. I'm sorry. I was really spooked. Wanna change BGM. If the gardener knocks, hide. The gardener is meant to knock on the window. Yo. Did you turn on the TV? Stop! Stop. Okay. 10 p.m. no sleep. I know. Seems like somebody made $700. Bro, I don't know. No, the windows are covered with curtains right now. Okay, I'm looking at them. The windows are covered in curtains. Miria, don't open the door if they call themselves Virgil, ELAINE, or Bossu. No! Okay. Okay. No faucet after 9. No baths after 9 p.m. Oh man. It's me, Bossu. No! No, you're not! Did you eat with your left hand rather than right? Oh, was that part of the rules? Imagine receiving 40,000 peso super chat. Pag sinabing this is the landlord, wag mo bubuksan para safe. Yeah, sure. Ah, my god. You see boss cooking eggs tomorrow in your kitchen. I don't even have eggs! Does flushing the toilet count as a faucet? I'm not sure. I'm not sure. I'm really not sure. Okay. Okay. Oh man. Oh man. Merali ko po, no, no, please, no. I'm so scared. Pag may kumatok. Landlord. Miria, your rent is due. You're not my landlord. I feel like if Virgil was the protag, she would hear Gira knock on the door while yelling, "Open the door, you damn brat." Bossu? Question mark. Are you really Bossu? Open the door, open the... No! No! The true horror was knowing we wasted an hour reading that story. Yeah, it has been an hour. I'm gonna check more Reddit stuff. Okay, Reddit top. There we go. It's me, Elaine. I'm outside. No, I can't trust anyone. Maybe the "don't go back" was the author all along. Don't go back to the story. Lots of plot holes. Ours. Oh, yeah, plot holes. Okay, let me look for more stuff. Okay, this is from 9 months ago. Don't go back to the story, yeah. Miria, it's us, the familiar. Okay, this is with 55,000 upvotes. It's me, Bob. No, the Bobs are in the basement. Yeah. Imagine waking up and Elaine is cooking you breakfast. That would be great because I love her food. But like, how did you get inside my house? Alright, this next one is 55,000 upvotes. And the title is, oh man, it's a series. I don't want to read series. What's the plural of series? Series. Renji, thank you so much for the super chat. Didn't you forget something? I locked my doors. What did I forget? Is it my wife has been peeking at me from around corners and behind the furniture? It's gone from weird to terrible. Yes, it's that one. Sirai? Wait, Sirai is real? Series. I don't know. Okay, but it's a series, and I don't know. That's a good one. Oh, it's a good one? It's a good one. Did you close the tank for the stove? Nice try! I want an induction cooker. Alright, so if people say that this is a good read, then let's read it. But let's see how long this is. Come on, it's so long! It's so long! Ah. Okay, there doesn't seem to be a link to a part 2, so I guess we'll read it. Check your fridge. No! Wait, that's not your phone. The plural is series is still series. Series. Are you sure it's an induction cooker and not a creature with a lighter inside? Did you check if the toilet was loosely flushing? Do you feel— Hey, stop! I'm gonna read this now. Open the toilet, Miria, we're inside. Check your fridge for the Hey, who even refrigerates canned goods? They stay outside. They stay outside. Just turn on the TV already. Guys, no! Okay, this is a new one. I guess this is the second one. Apparently, we're only gonna be able to read like 2. What's under the table? The bed, the chair. Alright, this is... Okay, since someone said that this is a good one, I will read it. But this is probably the only one left that we are gonna read. Having canned goods and no can opener is scary, but modern cans usually have their own lift-up tabs now. 2 is good kung plot holes naman. Alright, let's read this. This is really long. Wow, it's really long. Okay, so this is titled, "My wife has been peeking at me from around corners and behind furniture. It's gone from weird to terrifying." It says it's a series, but I didn't see a link for a part 2, so I'm assuming this entire thing is the series, like there's been edits and updates to it. Okay, spooky BGM again, okay. Alright, let's get started. My wife Lynn and I have been together for 6 years and married for 11 months. Our entire history together has been very normal, and never once have I noticed any weird behaviors or red flags. I can't stress enough how out of character this whole thing is for her. Lynn is very kind, intelligent, and thoughtful. She's always been the no-nonsense type of person. Being childish or trying to scare me is not something she normally do. She doesn't even like watching horror movies. When we first started dating, she agreed to watch The Shining with me because she knew how much I loved horror. She was so scared that she didn't even make it through half of the movie before we had to turn it off. She isn't into anything creepy and has never been into pranks. It's just not her cup of tea. And that's fine. But that's what's so strange about this. It's just so unlike her. I should also add that she never had any mental health issues, and as far as I'm aware, it doesn't run in her family. I know some people are able to hide their mental health problems, but in the 6 years we've been together, I think I'd have seen some sort of sign. 2 months ago, I was in the kitchen making myself some coffee before work. I was running a bit late that morning and knew I wouldn't be able to make it to Dunkin' Donuts for my usual morning fix. Who gets coffee from Dunkin' Donuts? Is their coffee good? Is it? I took a sip of my coffee as I hurried down the hall towards the front door when I happened to notice Lynn peeking at me from around the corner ahead of me. I could only see her eyes and a strand of her long dark hair hanging against the wall. Holy shit, no, I can't! This is scary! Okay, this is the kicker. Dunkin' coffee is good. Is it? Is it really? Ninja peak, yeah. Okay. I need the strength of my Miria, because this one really freaked me out. This sentence really freaked me out. So if the noises in my apartment and around my neighborhood could just be quiet, I would be less freaked out. Oh boy, okay. How are we sure that it's indeed her? Okay, I could only see her eyes and a strand of her long dark hair hanging against the wall. The rest of her body was concealed behind the corner. I nearly spilled my coffee when I saw her. I did burn the shit out of my lips. "Jeez, Lynn," I said, wiping a few drops of coffee from my pants. "You scared the shit out of me." She immediately popped out of view like a little kid that had been caught. I heard her scurry off towards the living room, and by the time I got to the front door, she was out of sight. It was really weird and just totally out of character for her, like I said, but I also found it kind of funny that she was being more playful and a little less serious. I shouted that I loved her and called her a weirdo. As I shut the door behind me, I heard her laughing. Her behavior was a bit odd, but it certainly wasn't something to call a priest over. I forgot about it by lunch, and by the time I got home, she was her normal self. I didn't bring it up, and neither did she, and life went on. The next incident happened 3 days later. It was around 2 a.m. It was around 2 a.m. and I had woken up to get a drink. I was standing at the kitchen island, jug of OJ in hand, when I felt a strong feeling that I was being watched. For whatever reason, I looked down at the floor and saw my wife's smiling face staring back. She was peeking at me from the other side of the island, staring up at me with wide, unblinking eyes and grinning like the Cheshire Cat. I screamed, I'll admit it, not out of irritation, but fear. For some reason, that moment I was scared. At the sound of my scream, Lynn scuttled backwards out of my view, her hands and feet smacking the tile floor as she hurried out of the kitchen on all fours. I didn't run after her or even yell after her. I just stood there frozen in shock, wondering what the fuck had possessed her to do that. It took me a little longer than I'd like to admit to go upstairs, but I eventually did. When I got back to our bedroom, Lynn was lying on her side asleep, or at least pretending to be. I stood there for a while, watching her breathing to be sure she was really asleep. I had the feeling she might jump out at me the moment I got into bed, but she didn't. I climbed into bed, and she didn't even move. Her breathing was soft and deep, and I was starting to wonder if I drubbed the whole thing. I hate it when it's like long dark hair and glossy eyes and a big smile. Kind of like this. But like, what can we do, right? Okay. Where was I? Wait, I accidentally scrolled up. The next morning, I waited for her to come down for coffee, and after handing her a mug and kissing her cheek, I decided to ask her about it. What was that about last night? I asked, keeping my tone light so I didn't offend or embarrass her. She frowned over her cup of coffee, shaking her head like she had no clue what I was referring to. You were peeking at me again, from over there, pointing to the spot on the floor by the kitchen island. She followed my gaze and looked back at me. When she looked back at me, she burst out laughing. She laughed so hard that I couldn't help but join her. You creep me the fuck out sometimes, you know that? I said. She giggled and set her cup on the counter and wrapped her arms around my neck. You creep me out all the time. So I guess we're even. She teased. Okay, she teased. She's back to normal. Okay, so I'm gonna provide my commentary along the way. I feel like this is the kind of story I can't read like diretso. We said our goodbyes and left for work. As I drove, I kept thinking about how creepy it had been seeing her grinning at me from behind the island like that. The sounds her hands made on the floor as she crawled away. I told myself she was just trying to be silly. Just trying to join me in my love of all things horror. It's not like I was afraid of her. But it still didn't sit right with me. I don't want a wife anymore, guys. I started seeing her peeking at me more and more. Sometimes she'd be peeking out from behind the couch or living room curtains. Once she even managed to get inside her grandmother's old trunk that sits at the foot of our bed. Okay, first of all, that sounds like an antique furniture piece. Why do you still have it? No, oh my god, okay, this is really scaring me. This is scarier than the first one we read. This is honestly scarier. Reggie, thank you for the super chat. Hinga muna. How short is his wife? Alright. This explains why my dad began sleeping with it. Oh my god. If it's the kids doing the peeking, then it's fine. I feel like if children were doing that and they were scuttling around on all fours, that would be even scarier. The author's just like, oh, by the way, we have our grandma's old trunk near our bed. Huh? Is this even like I don't know. I might not even have known she was there at all had the trunk's old hinges not given her away. She had the lid propped up just enough so that only half of her face peeked through. She'd been grinning like an excited toddler. It was unnerving. I didn't even know what to say to her. All I could do was stare. When I finally found my voice, I asked her why on earth she was doing this. She didn't answer, but she slowly closed the lid, shutting herself inside the trunk. I just walked away, feeling fucking disturbed. Bro, what if something else was inside your grandma's trunk? What if this is your grandma? What if she wasn't your wife? What if she wasn't your wife anymore? That's not your wife, bro. Bro, that's not your wife anymore. I didn't understand why she was doing it, but it clearly made her happy. I just hope she would tire of the game quickly. Lynn didn't peek at me for the next 2 weeks. I started to think she was done with her weird prank, and I was relieved. We were watching a show on Netflix one night, and I jokingly said that I hadn't seen her peeking at me lately, and that she must have given up on her spy game. She looked up at me with a small smile and said, "Maybe you've just gotten better at it." Oh man. Burp. Excuse me. I can't! I don't want a wife anymore. I do not want wife. Goodbye. I am done. Ibang klaseng spy family. The story really giving me how do I get my girlfriend to knock off this annoying habit vibes. Oh my god, I remember reading that. It was so good, but also so scary. I don't want a wife anymore. But Bebe loves, no. I'm staying single forever. I don't want this shit to happen to me. She just really loves you. Okay, I've just gotten better at it. I didn't say anything, but I wondered whether or not she was joking. Oh, here's the problem. Guys and girls and anyone, you know? If you got a problem with someone, bro, just fucking talk it out. What do you mean I didn't say anything? Of course, that's where things start going horribly wrong. If you don't fucking talk about it, you know? You fucking talk. Communication. I hate them. I hate this family. Isn't that what the familiar are doing? Just staring. Yeah. I know. For real. Oh my god. Okay, let's continue. Maybe it's funnier this way. Maybe it's funnier if I just give random commentary. Remember when Virgil told that story of Elaine staring at her when she woke up? Wala na wife. Whoa. Okay. Yeah, I'll insert my commentary. I'll insert my commentary so I don't feel as scared. Oh man. For the next few days, I couldn't stop thinking about what she'd said. Was she still peeking at me when I wasn't looking and I just hadn't noticed? And if so, what the hell was she getting out of this? I started to feel paranoid, constantly checking on whether she was watching from around the corner or behind the door. I was jumpy whenever I was home and she wasn't in full view of me. I felt stupid and a little crazy. But after a few weeks without another incident, I began to relax. I stopped checking behind furniture and walls and told myself it was just a bad memory, and this is where it all goes wrong. Isn't it? Then a few days ago, things got so much worse. Lynn left to go to a friend's, and I lounged on the couch and played a couple games on my laptop. Oh boy! Hold me! Around 9 p.m. That's how they get you when you start to relax, it's true. Around 9 p.m. I hopped into the shower. And as I was washing the soap from my... Okay. First of all, OP, why the fuck are you using soap on your hair? I felt the awful feeling that I was being watched. I slowly opened my eyes and almost had a fucking heart attack. I hate it! No! Safeguard yung gamit niya para sa buhok niya. I am now muting the stream. Miria, thank you very much, Otsumi. It's okay, I understand. Must be one of those hair and body wash. I'm never gonna shower again. Is what no, I have to take a shower. Almost had a fucking heart attack. Lynn was peeking from behind the shower curtain. Her entire head stretched into the shower, leaving just her body outside. Her long dark hair hung against the curtain, the ends dripping with water. Her mouth hung open in a terrible grin, eyes wide and red, as if she hadn't blinked in a while. I screamed and jumped back against the wall. She didn't move, nor did her smile waver. Her makeup ran down her cheeks in 2 black streaks. She looked giddy and completely deranged. I was fucking terrified. That's not peeking anymore. For no sleep to no bat real quick. Do I want to know what happens here? I feel like this is enough. I know that her wife be freaky. I know his wife be freaky. That's it. That's all I need to know, right? Right? There's not a peek, I know. Yeah. Skip to the end. Shall we check what? No. We're committing, guys. We're committing. There's like, I don't know. We need the whole story. Fine. Why is this the top 2? This should be top 1. This is freaking me out already. The first one was like, I managed to keep a straight face while reading it, but this one, I can't even do it. There's something unnerving about this. Namira, kung ako makatulog, ikaw din dapat. Okay. We stood like that for a few moments, neither of us saying a word. Finally, after what felt like forever, she slowly pulled her head back out of the curtain, and I watched her blurry figure through the curtain as she moved backwards towards the bathroom door. A second later, the bathroom door slammed shut, hard enough to rattle the mirror. I screamed again and jumped out of the shower to lock the door. I stayed inside the bathroom for over an hour. Maybe I overreacted to some of you, but joke or not, I wasn't going to put up with the crazy shit anymore. That's what I kept telling myself as I paced in my bathroom, stopping to listen at the door every few minutes. But Lynn is away. Maybe she already got home. Suddenly, I heard a muffled sound. No! And I pressed my ear against the bathroom door, straining to listen. I couldn't hear. You are a brave 5'9" medic. Thank you. Okay, I will take this seriously again. Suddenly, I heard a muffled sound, and I pressed my ear against the bathroom door, straining to listen. I couldn't hear anything, but I envisioned Lynn standing on the other side of the door, giggling at her joke. No, I can't. I felt a surge of anger. I was beyond pissed at being made to feel scared in my own house and made to hide in the bathroom for an hour. All for what? Some joke? It was a joke. If it was a joke, it's an awful one. What the fuck, Lynn? I snapped. This shit is getting really fucking annoying. I waited for her to apologize or to call me a jerk, but instead I heard a faint moan. So quiet. But instead I heard a faint moan? So quiet, I wondered if I heard it at all, and then complete silence. Lynn? I called out, not even able to hide the shakiness in my voice. I got no response, just my own heavy breathing. I swear to God, just fucking stop it! I pounded my fist on the door. I waited for her to cuss me out, something I would expect from me talking to her like that. I never screamed at her before, but there was nothing, just the occasional drip from the shower head. I won't deny that I was scared, too afraid to open the damn door and face my own wife. I waited for another 30 minutes or so, which feels like a fucking lifetime when you're scared. Finally, I decided I wasn't going to spend the night hiding in my bathroom, so I got down on my knees and peered under the door. I almost expected to see her face peeking back at me, but thankfully I didn't. I could see straight down the hallway to the top of the stairs, but no Lynn. I didn't know if I should be happy about that or not. I looked for a few minutes, waiting to see her head pop up over the top step, but it never came. Okay, first of all, that sounds like a really big hole on your bathroom door, bro. You might want to get that checked. You might want to get that checked, bro. It sounds like a really big hole, you know? How could you see? Like how could you see to the top of the stairs straight down the hallway? You know? It's like, most of the time, doors are meant to just have like a really small gap between it, but you're not supposed to see a massive view. You're not supposed to see your fucking hallway. Like, even if you bend down towards the gap on the door, your eyes won't even make it that way. He has bad depth perception. No, he has a bad door, Elin. He has a bad door, okay? I'm coping. I stood up, my hand hovering over the door, mentally prepared myself to open it. I slowly turned the lock with shaky fingers and was about to yank it open when I heard a sound that still makes me feel nauseous when I think about it. What did you hear? Good story so far. I hope there's no plot holes. A moan. What do you mean a moan? Ah, what the fuck is a moan supposed to sound like, bro? Why do you feel nauseous for a moan? Maybe you mean groan, OP. I don't know. A moan louder than before, but this time I was able to tell just where it was coming from. I turned my head to the closet fucking door as if in slow motion and locked my eyes with my wife, who was peeking out at me from the slight gap. Her eyes were still wide as ever, and her mouth was hanging open in the most grotesque gaping smile I had ever seen. I didn't even scream. I was too scared for that. Her hands were clasped to her chest, body trembling with sheer delight, as if she could barely contain her excitement. A short, raspy moan bubbled up from her throat, deep and raw, sending a shiver through my entire body. Somehow, I found the ability to pull the bathroom door open and ran as fast as I could, all the way down the steps, snagging my keys and phone from the table in the living room, before running outside to my car. I could hear her shrill laughter behind me, but I didn't hear her getting closer. I didn't bother shutting the front door. I drove away from the house faster than I legally should have, shivering the entire time, either from fear or the cold. Maybe a little of both. I hadn't grabbed a coat or even a pair of shoes. I was still in my boxers and my hair was still damp. I drove straight to my brother Chris's house, about 40 minutes away, ignoring any and every call and text that I got. I didn't check my phone until I was safely parked in my brother's driveway. Lynn had called 4 times and sent a flurry of texts, all wondering where I'd gone and why I left like that. I threw my phone at the dash in a rage, furious at her nonchalant attitude. My brother and his wife were surprised to see me, especially dressed in just a pair of boxers, but told me to stay as long as I needed. Chris lent me some clothes and asked me what happened. I told him Lynn and I had a fight, but didn't get into the details. I didn't want him to think that I was overreacting, leaving my wife over a prank, even if it was a strange one. I mean, hadn't I encouraged her for years to lighten up instead of being so serious all the time? I had wanted her to relax and loosen up, but this was definitely not what I had in mind. I tried to sleep on their sofa, but my brain wouldn't let me sleep. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw Lynn's face staring at me from inside the closet. Knowing she'd been in there with me the entire time made my skin crawl. She'd never left the fucking bathroom at all. Instead, she slipped into the closet and slammed the bathroom door shut to fool me. The mere thought of going back home gave me anxiety. I tossed and turned, unable to sleep. Chris ended up giving me a sleeping pill so I was able to get a little rest. My sleep was filled with terrible dreams, all of Lynn's smiling face. I woke up just as the sun started to rise. My sore body ached from the sofa, and I felt drained. I knew I'd have to call Lynn at some point, but I didn't know what to say to her. I wouldn't be going home unless she gave me her word that she would never do any more creepy shit. I just wanted my wife back. Her normal, serious self never looked so good to me. I was contemplating calling her and telling her that when that familiar feeling came over me. I was being watched. I was staring at the ceiling, my heart in my throat. I didn't want to look away, but the longer I ignored the feeling, the worse it got. My eyes drifted away from the ceiling almost on their own. Her face was pressed up against the window, beside the couch, staring down at me with that same gaping smile. Drool dribbled down her lips, leaving 2 long streaks down the glass. I didn't know how long she'd been there, but something told me she'd been there quite a while, possibly all night. I I didn't bother screaming, though I was afraid anger trumped any fear I felt in the moment. I jumped from the couch and pounded my palm against the glass. Lynn, are you crazy? What the hell is wrong with you? Just go home. Now! She never did move, and her ghastly expression never did change. If anything, her smile only grew, as if she'd never been more elated. I could hear Chris and his wife moving around upstairs, as if Lynn could hear them from her place outside. Her head twitched slightly in their direction, and she began to close her mouth slowly. Chris called my name from upstairs, obviously concerned. I turned to see him and his wife Rebecca hurrying down the steps. When I turned back to the window, Lynn was gone. The only sign she'd been there at all was the 2 streaks of jewels still dripping down the glass. I tried to explain to Chris and Rebecca about waking up to see Lynn watching me through their window. They were skeptical. I mean, who wouldn't be? Chris and I went outside to the spot in front of the window, but there were no footprints in the dirt, just a slight indent. Animal, probably, Chris guessed, and I didn't argue. He and Rebecca assumed I dreamt the entire episode, but they didn't understand, and I was too tired to explain it to them. I called out of work that day and turned my cell off. I didn't want to face Lynn. Just talking to her was too much for me at that point. I really started to believe something was irreversibly wrong with her. That no matter what promises she made, we'd never be the same again. The thought saddened me to my core. I cried most of the morning. By noon, I figured I was ready to confront her, give her at least one last chance to explain herself. I could at least give her that after 6 years, I told myself. I turned my phone on and saw the dozens of texts she sent, all from a seemingly concerned wife. Can we talk? I love you. Please call me. I'm really worried. Can you answer? Just come home. And more of the same. All texts telling me she loved me and she wanted me home, how worried she was. Not a damn one addressing the crazy shit she pulled. Like she hadn't been acting like a character from a Stephen King book. Even her texts were different. She normally texted novels just to tell me to pick up a loaf of bread. You'd think she'd have more to say to me after her bizarre shenanigans. I know it probably seems childish to some of you who are miles away from this situation, but if you saw the way Lynn had looked at me, how she scampered away on all fours like some wild animal, grinning at me from inside the closet like a lunatic, then I think you'd find my reaction was warranted. I ended up staying with Chris and Rebecca for another night. I didn't wake up yesterday until afternoon, and thankfully I didn't see Lynn's face watching me through the window. I don't want to pry, because it's not my place, but is this fight something that can be mended? Rebecca asked. She made us both a sandwich for lunch, and I knew she wanted to breach the subject without seeming to be nosy. I don't know, she's like a different person, I said, choosing my words carefully. I still wasn't ready for her or Chris to know the full extent of the batshit craziness I had been dealing with. People change, Ben, but she's still the same woman you married. Maybe you both just need to talk through your issues. Whatever's going on, I'm sure it can be fixed, she said, ever the peacemaker. I think it's beyond that now. I don't think talking would help. I just don't trust her, I said. The words stung in my heart. I missed and loved my wife, but how could I live with someone like that? Living in constant fear didn't sound too appealing. Lynn loves you. She has to be absolutely crushed. I don't know about that. Well, she certainly seemed like it to me. I've never seen her so upset. Very much unlike the Lynn I know. Wait a second. Wait a second. It took a full minute for her words to really sink in. And when it did, I felt dread worming its way through my skin. Wait, what do you mean? You saw her? You saw Lynn? What? What? Oh my god, what the shit? Rebecca nodded casually, as if that fact wasn't nightmare fuel. Maybe for her it wasn't. She stopped by this morning just after Chris left for work, she said, cleaning her plates from the table. I didn't see her car though. Maybe she took an Uber or something. He's the one that's going crazy. He's going insane! Everyone's insane. Conclusion. Why did we do this? Beck, what did she say? Did she come inside? I asked, sweat starting to break out on my forehead. Whose idea was it? It was mine! It was stupid, Miria! Miria, why? Oh. I began to look around, examining the corners as though a predator lurked behind them. No. She just asked if you were awake yet, and I said that you weren't. I asked if she wanted me to wake you, but she said no. Just said to let you sleep. She said as she washed the dishes. That's all? She didn't say anything else? It's just fiction, Miria. Thank you! I can't write scary shit like this. Yeah, it's my decision, I know, but I can regret decisions I make, you know. Man, though, this is weird. No, she looked awful, though, like she hadn't slept in days. I think you should call her. I got up from the table and thanked Rebecca for lunch. I felt a little bit better at the knowledge that at least she didn't come inside. Still, I needed to double check that the doors were locked. I sat for a while, trying to figure out what to do next. I didn't want to go home, but I felt that I owed it to Lynn to help her if I could. Hadn't I swore an oath to love and honor her through sickness and in health? Clearly she was... Clearly she was very sick. Would you rather read a crap horror story or something like this? Honestly, I'm 50-50. I would love to read a shitty horror story like yung tipong alam mong walang connect sa mga pinag-uusap. I would love that as well. like if it's just like a basic ass horror story, that would be fine. Yeah, okay. If she was sick, which I truly believe she was, I had to try and get her the help she needed. But I didn't know where to start. I didn't want to call the police. And besides, what the hell was I gonna tell them? That my wife was peeking at me? Oh, how lewd. That she was being creepy? As bizarre as she had been, she still hadn't committed any crime. Not yet, anyway. Okay. The police would have probably said that I was overreacting, but this wasn't some prank. It felt wrong, dangerous even, like something sinister lurked beneath her smile. I know how to not be scared. I need to make this dramatic reading. I knew, as her husband, I was well within my rights to have her committed. But what if she simply acted normal in their presence? She'd obviously been able to fool Rebecca into thinking she was just a concerned wife. As long as the doctors didn't find her a danger to herself or to others, they'd have no choice but to release her after 72 hours. I felt lost and overwhelmed. So You sound like Dion. Yes, this is how I'm gonna cope, okay? This is how I'm gonna make it less scary. So I did what any husband in my position would do. I called her mother. What the fuck? I called her mom. Huh? But naging true crime? Well, it's copium. I'm trying to cope. What? I did what any husband in my position would do. Okay, if you guys were husbands, right? Would you would you call your mom-in-law? Nagsumbong sa nanay. Yeah. Mom, your daughter's being creepy. What was that banging sound? It's probably my chair. You guys hear this? My chair is kind of noisy. Yeah, it's like a tapping sound. I don't know. If you guys see me like flailing, it's my chair. It's my chair. Well, you're only coping now, you won't be coping. Yeah, it's fine. I called her mother. I didn't want to. Believe me. Her mother Marianne and I were never on the best of terms. We'd never fought or anything like that. She just wasn't a very warm person and wasn't really easy to get along with. She hardly ever smiled, and when she did, only her lips would move in a thin-lipped smile, leaving her eyes as blank as before. She gave off this aura that felt like she was permanently on the offensive. I'd only met her twice, and both times were for such short visits. I got the impression she didn't approve of me for her daughter. Lynn always ushered us out quickly, as she didn't want me to feel uncomfortable, which I was grateful for. Being in her mother's company felt almost unbearable, like walking on glass. I was glad when we moved 3 states away, so we didn't have to see her often. I was happy to avoid the woman, but I needed her help. I really didn't want to talk to her at all, but I had to talk to someone, and someone who knew Lynn better than I did. So I gripped my teeth and did what I had to. "Yes," she answered, already sounding irritated. "Marianne, it's me, Ben. Do you have a minute to talk?" I asked. I could hear her cluck her tongue in her irritation. "I'm in the middle of writing some checks, but if you insist, I suppose I could spare a moment. What is it that you want to discuss, Benjamin?" she said coolly. "It's about Lynn. She's been acting strangely, and I was wondering if you had any idea whether there was something." I was quickly interrupted. "It's a bit difficult to follow your rambling, Benjamin. What is it that you want from me?" she asked. I could almost see her standing there in her thin sweater and slacks, tapping her fingernails impatiently on the table. "I wanted to know if you'd ever noticed any odd behavior, or possibly any mental health issues," I asked. There was a long, uncomfortable pause that I couldn't tell was because she was just thinking or something else. Finally, after a few seconds, she spoke. "I'm not sure if this is one of your jokes, Benjamin, but if so, I don't find the humor in it. Now, I do have business to attend to, as I've said, so if you don't mind," she said. But I cut her off before she could get rid of me. "Marianne, it's not a joke. I'm seriously concerned about Lynn's mental health. Her behavior has been very erratic lately." I can't. "I'm very worried about her, and I figured as her mother, you would be as well," I said, my frustration evident in my voice. "If you're truly concerned, then I suggest you get the health professionals involved. I don't know what you expect of me," she snapped. I could tell she was seconds away from hanging up, and for some reason I was desperate not to let her. I had the feeling that she knew a lot more than she was letting on. "But please, if not for me, do it for Lynn." I heard a fake, shaky intake of breath, as if she were trying to hold her steely persona together but failing. "Marianne, what's wrong?" I started. "Benjamin, I don't know what to tell you. My only advice would be to seek professional help. Do not call here again. Goodbye." I tried to call out to her, but she'd hung up. Okay, I'm scared again. I can't make this funny anymore. Something wrong is gonna happen after this. The moment that he realizes that he's not focused on this call anymore, it's gonna be bad. It's gonna be so bad. There's gonna be something bad that's gonna happen. Read it in Goofy's voice. "Oh, look." I can't. Yeah, something wrong is gonna happen. I tried to I tried to wrap my head around the call and her refusal to help me. And even if she didn't like me, why wouldn't she want to help her own daughter? I couldn't understand that. What about Mickey's voice? "Oh boy." Ah! Ah! I couldn't understand that. I tried to replay the conversation, desperate to find something I missed. What is professional help even in this context? An exorcist! Oh my god, okay. Try using your gremlin. I guess it's easier. After a while, I almost gave up until I remembered her last words to me. Seek professional help. She said those words with a bit of urgency. When are you gonna start spitting tobacco out? I can't. Okay, here's the thing. I can't ever do the Donald Duck voice. That's really hard. I can't do it. Yeah, I can't. Seek professional help. Is the professional help for me? Or is it for my wife? I'm betting it's for me. Maybe I'm the one that's insane. Maybe next time we have a reading stream, we have a Wheel of Miria's voices. Scooby-Doo. What's one thing that he says a lot? Ruh-roh. I can't. Nah, Scooby-Doo is hard to replicate. It's for Miria after the stream. I hope we can still sleep, yeah. Marianne be like, let's play hide and seek. I will hide and you will seek professional help. Alright. She said those words with a bit of urgency. I could have just been grasping at straws, but no, I was sure her voice had changed ever so slightly when she said that, as if they were very important. Treat it in Squidward's voice.
What had she meant? I assumed she'd be referring to medical professionals, but maybe she was referring to someone.
No, I can't. It doesn't sound like it. I can't do the deep voice. Someone that she didn't, for some reason, feel comfortable saying directly. Or maybe I was just desperate. Squidward, it sounds more Minecraft Villager. It sounds more Minecraft Villager. Oh my god. I waited for Chris to get home, and after a very long and exhausting conversation with him and Rebecca, I convinced them that Lynn truly needed psychiatric help. I didn't tell them everything. I wasn't prepared to go into it yet, but I told them about our last encounter, how she'd hidden in the bathroom, peeking at me from the closet. They were obviously shocked, but thankfully they believed me. They too just wanted to help her. Still, they didn't think it was all that serious. Weird, but maybe not dangerous. They just kept saying that Lynn had to be playing some kind of weird joke. Maybe for YouTube? No, not for the views, Rebecca offered, if only half-heartedly. Chris didn't think we should involve the police just yet. He offered instead to go with me, and I readily accepted. Yes! Party of two! He reasoned that calmly, talking to her, trying to coax her into going willingly was the best recourse. I agreed to do it this way. At least I wouldn't be going into the house alone. There is strength in numbers! If he had a smartphone to take pics, this would have been solved early. Bro, the person in the previous NOSLEEP entry had a smartphone, and look where that got her. Kristen, wait, I read that part. We drove over this morning, just after breakfast. There was no way I was going at night. No, please don't. Okay. When we pulled into the driveway, my stomach began doing somersaults. I can't somersault. Her car wasn't there, but I still didn't let my guard down. They have individual cars, not all. Her phone was smart, but she was not. The front door was ajar. No, it's a door. And for a split second, I thought we'd see her eyes staring through the gap. I was shaking and starting to sweat. Chris, however, was fine. He waited for me to open the door, his hands in his pockets like he was going on a fucking stroll through the park. I envied his ignorance. I pushed the door open and was immediately hit with a stench of rot. Oh my god. Oh my god. Elena, hi you guys, please help me cope. The stench of rot. Chris smelled it too. And he walked in the house behind me with his nose scrunched up. Oh my god. What do you guys use to clean the floors around here? Shit? Shut up. My eyes were darting for any signs of Lynn. Yo, bro, I knew it. I fucking knew it. We've all been had. It's the grandma's trunk, isn't it? Oh my fucking god. There's always something about no sleep shit, you know? There's always something about the horrors like, oh, you smell something funky. It's like, oh, it's a dead body. It's a fucking dead body. The house was deadly quiet and dark despite being 10 in the morning. Why is it dark? All the curtains were closed up tight, refusing to allow any sunlight inside. If I hadn't left it just 2 days prior, I'd have thought the house to be abandoned. We moved through each room carefully, checking any place that she might hide, occasionally calling her name. No. I can't. Why is this not the toppest rated thingy? This is like so much better than the previous one. Oh my god. I'm getting goosebumps. I'm getting goosebumps. The brother's wife saw her though again. Mimics? Skinwalkers? Or, you know, doppelgangers. Good ending, somebody accidentally left the meat they bought in the supermarket. It stunk up the place. Everyone's okay. They talk over a few beers. No, I don't want to take a CR break. Nobody's going to the bathroom anymore. Nobody's going to the bathroom anymore. You're all stuck with me in the bedroom. Why the fuck are you looking under the couch? Chris asked eventually. Aren't we looking for your wife? He was looking at me like I was a moron. Let's just go upstairs, I whispered. He shook his head but followed me up to the stairs to check on the bathroom and spare bedroom. On the way up, my shoes crunched over pieces of glass that looked to be littered over a few of the steps. Where did this glass come from? Bobby, so we have that. No, I don't want to go to the bathroom anymore. Watch out. Yeah. Bro, I don't like this anymore. I'm never gonna open my windows. It's gonna be so humid and stuffy in my room. Okay, I noticed that one of Lynn and my wedding portraits that hung on the wall along the staircase had been smashed. The frame hung crookedly, all the glass removed. I stared at the picture, a lump forming in my throat. We had the photo taken just after leaving the church, after saying our vows. She looked so beautiful in her white gown. I looked at Lynn's beautiful face. I never dreamed her face would ever be a source of terror for me. We climbed the rest of the steps and checked the spare bedroom, but it looked completely untouched. I was hesitant to go into the bathroom, my fear from that night coming back to me all at once. Chris noticed and offered to go in by himself, but I couldn't let him do that. So we walked in together, checking the closet and the shower. The bathroom looked as if it hadn't been touched since the night I left. I regret all my life decisions! Why? Why do we? Oh my god, okay. 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 I don't think she's been here, Ben. Why don't you pack some clothes and we'll try coming back tomorrow or something? I nodded and went into our bedroom and shoved some clothes into a duffel bag. When I checked inside our closet, I came across the source of the smell and gagged. Oh my god. Chris took one long look and lost all color in his face. He had to go stand by the stairs to get away from the sight and the smell. I can't scroll down. I can't scroll down on this. Surprisingly, there's still like a lot more. There's like 10 more paragraphs after this specific line. There's still 10 more paragraphs after this specific line. I gazed down in shock at what lay inside my bedroom closet. Let's have closure. No, nobody needs closure. I thought I heard something outside. I thought I heard something outside. Bro. Well, to be fair, the paragraphs are like maybe 2-3 sentences, and it's like narrative paragraphs, so... I gazed down in shock at what lay inside my bedroom closet. Soaking into the rug were at least a dozen eyeballs. What? All carefully laid out in pairs. Some were as large as a quarter, while others were as tiny as a marble. I stared down at the eyes she'd collected from small animals and wondered how she'd gotten them and shuddered at the thought. Renji, thank you so much for the super chat. Hang on, redeem. Okay, this was not what I was expecting. This was not what I was expecting at all. Is that Dr. Ezekiel ghosting? You're right. Okay, so it's not a corpse, but these are eyeballs. Okay, that was not what I was expecting. What the f— okay, now I'm curious. What? Man, I thought I had it bad with Becca's shoe addiction, but fuck me. Your wife's in here collecting eyeballs. Chris said, gagging. Ben, I think we should go. He called from the hall. I'm getting nauseous. Bro. Alright, I grabbed my duffel and shut the closet door on my new nightmare. I stepped out into the hall and took a breath of air. I could taste the rot on my tongue and I couldn't help but gag. They said they were animal eyes. They said they were animal eyes. This is Bosu's K-drama fantasy. The K-drama where he was looking for that one quote-unquote romantic moment where the guy licked the girl's eyeball. What? No one called the freaking police? No, I don't think... Is collecting eyeballs like a crime? No, I don't think it was human eyeballs. Okay, here. It says here that it was... I stared down at the eyes she'd collected from small animals and wondered how she'd gotten them. Yeah, it didn't say human. It says it was animal eyeballs. Who the fuck lines up eyeballs in their closet like that? Damn it, Miria, I'd completely forgotten about that. Why'd you remind us? It's not a crime, but it's definitely considered. You know what? You're right. You're right. I tried to tell you she needed help. Okay, at least this sounds like realistic brother banter, though. This sounds like realistic brother banter. So props to the writer for this one. She doesn't need help, Ben. She needs a fucking exorcist. You coming or what? I can't stand the smell anymore. His words died in his throat and his eyes grew wide with fear. Ah. Depending on how she got the eyeball, she could be tried for animal cruelty. The writer for real had siblings. Yeah, it's believable. Okay, something batshit insane happened. Okay. I didn't ask him why. I could feel it. Someone was watching me, and I didn't think it was the eyes in the closet. I turned around and my eyes were slowly scanning the bedroom. Christ. I whispered as I finally saw what we'd missed. Under the bed, curled on her side, watching us with the excitement of a kid on Christmas morning, was my wife. Ryder had a rough divorce. She held her hands together just under her chin and they were shaking eagerly. Now that she knew she'd been found, I could hear the quiet noises she was making, a sort of hiccuping in her throat, as if the excitement was just too much for her. It was unnerving to say the least. Wide eyes and that huge, same smile. Everything in me told me to run, but I forced it away. This was my wife. No matter how twisted, she was still the woman I married. No! This is why love fucks you up! Who needs love? Run away! Benjamin, come on! Fucking run. Fucking run, Benjamin. I had to help her. Help yourself. Lynn, I said softly. She didn't respond. Her head bobbed back and forth in 2 quick little movements as if she were nodding. Baby, I just want to help, okay? Can you let me do that? Baby! I just want to help, okay? Baby! What do you mean, baby? No! No! Fucking no! Kilig yan. Babe, come on. Fucking snap out of it. Di na ako galit, babe. I asked. I had taken a single step forward, approaching her like some kind of dangerous animal. Okay, we still have like 2 more pages or something. I love you, Lynn. I said softly, taking another step closer. She let a tiny moan escape, her mouth wide open. And I had to resist the urge to run. Her shoulders were starting to quiver and her eyes grew as large as saucers. Bro, your bro is there. Chris is there. You never turn your back on family. Your brother is there. I'm reading on Sublime, so it looks like there's still roughly around 2 pages worth of like scrolling down, but it's fine. It's gonna end soon. It's gonna end soon. If I just stop beating around the bush, you know, and finally read it. I crouched down so I could see her better. You idiot, Benjamin! And I immediately saw the blood. Her hands were covered in it. They trembled more the closer I got, as if she was barely able to contain herself. Lynn, are you hurt? You're bleeding. Yeah, okay, I don't believe it anymore. No normal person would fucking go to someone who is like batshit insane. You know, batshit insane. And say, baby, you're hurt. Let me help you, because I love you. No! Don't do that, you fucking idiot! No! No. No. Okay. She bobbed her head again. Her bloody fingers moving up and down as if playing an invisible piano. They occasionally grazed her chin, leaving smears of blood on her skin. I love you, Lynn. Let's stay together forever, even if you're a creepy ass bitch. I wanted to recoil in disgust. The smell that was coming off of her was revolting. I could feel the vomit trying to climb up my throat. Her lips were dry and stretched thin, blood seeping between the cracks. I knew she wouldn't come out on her own, but I didn't want to leave her in the state she was in. But Miria, di ba ganyan yung time mo medyo psycho na edgelord? Only edgelord, not psycho. I scooted closer and reached out to her. No! He's gonna die! It was nice knowing you, Benjamin. It was nice knowing you. Benjamin, just fucking leave her, I know. The excited hiccuping sounds got louder and her hands shook, fingers flexing. It was then that I could see the blood oozing from in between her fingers. Oh my god, Lynn. You're bleeding, I said. Instinctively, I reached out to take her hand. Who wants to make a bet? She's probably gonna fucking tear his hands off. But before I could even touch her, her headshot sprang out towards me. A sharp pain shot through my arm and I fell back on my ass. Why did OP say ass? I mean, to be fair, but my arm burned and I could see the blood dripping down onto the carpet. Yo, he lost his fucking arm. I looked back at her in shock and saw her grinning madly, her fingers clutching a large shard of glass. You alright in there? Chris asked from behind me. No, bro! There's something wrong. I turned my head slightly and nodded to him. Yo, okay, one thing that Benjamin's problem is he can't admit that there's something fucking wrong. He can't communicate. Benjamin can't communicate. Fucking idiot. Fucking idiot. This guy. This fucking guy. Fuck. Okay? For fuck's sake. Benjamin, this is a curious case. Toxic relationship. Admit there's a problem. Isn't Chris witnessing any of this? I don't know, man. When I turned back to face Lynn, I saw that her focus had shifted. She wasn't looking at me anymore and she wasn't smiling anymore either. She was staring past me, her eyes glaring at Chris the way a hungry lion might stare at an antelope. Her mouth was still hanging open, but it was twisted into a snarl. No, the homie, the bro. I got to my feet and began walking backwards down the hall, afraid to take my eyes off of her. Are you bleeding? Chris asked. The moment the words left his mouth, Lynn started fast, scooting out from under the bed, the glass shard still in her fist. Chris, run! Go! He must have been too afraid to move because a second later I felt my back bump into him. He was still standing at the top of the stairs, staring at the horror that was my wife. Lynn had crawled completely out from under the bed and stood in the bedroom doorway, her face twisted in rage. Her whole body was visibly tense. Blood ran down her fingers and onto the floor. Jesus, Lynn! You playing hide and seek? Chris said. I reached back and pushed him down towards the steps. Move your ass, Chris, I said as quietly but as firmly as I could. Lynn bobbed her head in fast, sharp motions and began to grin, stretching her mouth open wider and wider so that her chin seemed to touch her chest. I heard Chris mutter a prayer and then he was running down the stairs. I stood at the top of the steps, stuck between the love for a woman who clearly needed serious help and self-preservation. I only want to help, I said, choking back tears. Her eyes focused on me once again as she slowly lifted the glass, holding it out in front of her, and then she started sprinting towards me, grinning with utter excitement. Thankfully, my body took over and I flew down the stairs, skipping 2 or 3 at a time. I made it to the front door before I felt her leap onto my back, wrapping her arms around my neck, her open mouth next to my ear so that I could hear those terrible hiccuping sounds up close. I shook her off me, knocking her to the floor. I felt a searing pain in my back as she went, but I tore open the front door and bolted to my car. Chris was standing in the front yard talking on the phone with the police. I didn't say a word. I just ran to my car and jumped in. Chris took the hint and followed me, still on the line with 911. I watched the rearview mirror. I sure I'd see her there running after us, but I never did. I went to the ER and got 11 stitches in my arm and 3 on my back. The police asked a lot of questions and went back to the house to do a lot of search, but of course Lynn wasn't there. They advised me to stay with a friend or relative for a while and to file a restraining order as soon as I could, but none of those things would matter. Somehow I just knew. I dropped Chris off at home and went to a motel an hour away. I wanted to put as much distance between me and Lynn as I could. This is where I've been for the last 4 hours. I thought maybe the police would find her. Maybe they get her the help she desperately needs, but now I don't think so. Because 40 minutes ago, I got a text from an unknown number. Just 3 words. I found you. Yeah, nah. This ain't it, bro. Nah, man. Nah. What the fuck was that? Lintik na story to. Thank you so much for your super chat, Jello. I don't get it. This guy was so heavily like believing that my wife needs a psychiatrist. Bro! She needs a fucking I don't know, man. I don't know. I don't know. Just stay with the police. Man, you know what? There's something about it. There's something about it. I think that's it. That's it. That's pretty much it. Oh, wait! Meron pa pala! Fuck! Ah! And the picture attached. The picture was dark and grainy, but I instantly knew what it was. There was no mistaking my wife's eye. I started typing this out immediately after. I don't know what to do. I'm alone and scared, and I can't help but feel that I'm being watched. Okay, that's it. Just one eye. Okay, and the picture attached. The picture was dark and grainy, but I instantly knew what it was. There was no mistaking my wife's eye. He typed this long ass story. I know, right? I don't even know how he managed to bring his laptop with him. It ends there kasi OP is dead na. Man. The end. Okay, that's the true ending. She did the selfie boy, but no, I think the creature was collecting eyeballs. The creature was collecting eyeballs, and the latest collection was his wife. And I guess maybe this creature transforms into whoever eyes they got last. So kind of like that. And maybe once OP is dead, they're gonna have like a... that thing. I see. Yeah, it's like a shapeshifter, I guess. But yeah, maybe the eye is like some sort of like a key to their forms. Yeah. It was locked in the chest. Ooh, I get it. I don't know. Okay, I'm just speculating. I'm so sweaty. I don't like this feeling. I think the mother-in-law really knew about her own daughter. So I'm pretty sure that wasn't his wife anymore. Dude's just a fucking insane person. The chest got eyes. Pretty sure she'll get Chris before. I think maybe the real Lynn is dead. Okay, let me change the BGM, bro. Sell your scared sweat as seasonal merch. You're just hoping. Yeah, okay. Yeah, I feel like whatever that wasn't the... He got to see his wife eye to eye. Still has some plot holes, but at least the ending didn't fall flat on its face. Yeah, that's true. The first one kind of like lost it after the part 2 of the first one. Yeah, I knew it. Okay, let's read through the comments. Okay. Alright, let's read through the comments. 7K upvotes. The scariest line by far was "Maybe I've just gotten better at it." Yeah, that was good. That was a very good line. Excuse me. I mean, does it really have to be a ghost? I want to imagine that this is just a serious case of mental illness just to add to this can happen IRL vibe. Really? I don't know. What? So Nathan Simmer, I don't know. Okay, this sounds like it could happen in real life, but like, there is literally no way she couldn't have been found after that. Yeah, okay. So they were imagining the Momo face. Been a long time since I've genuinely be spooked. You need to get the fuck out, OP. Go to your mother-in-law's house and see what else she knows. She can't hang up on you in person. Yo, I want to know, cause like they introduced the mother-in-law. They introduced the mother-in-law. So there has to be something about that mother-in-law. The author was actually great at describing the situation. Yeah, honestly, as someone that actually like does imagine things, this was really creepy as fuck. Yeah. Ben should have just fought her then and there. No, what? Did you hear that the mother-in-law even said she was trying to keep up a steely persona? Lynn was obviously watching her. The mother-in-law probably knows. I think the professional help you need is a priest and to stay with Chris. Chances are the two of you can still overpower her. Ben doesn't beat his wife. That's good, right? I guess so. Yeah, it is. What do you mean, Miria? What do you mean I guess so? Someone said here that the professional help he needs is a shotgun. Throw the whole wife away. This scared the shit out of me. Yeah, my thoughts exactly. The shit was legit scary as fuck. I'm actually terrified. Funny how my mother-in-law is also named Marianne and my wife is pretty serious too. Although no peeking from her for God's sake. No, it said it was a series, but I think this was just edited afterwards. Or maybe it's marked as a series because it's long. Because it's long. I don't see any links to other parts, and OP never posted again, so who knows? Alright, let's see. What other things are here? Bloody hell, this is terrifying. Have you considered that maybe that's not your wife and it's some eldritch horror pretending to be her? Because you said in the beginning that she told you that you creep her out sometimes too, and she's been texting you asking you where you were during the time you switched off your phone. So maybe the creature is pretending to be you and also doing the same to her. Just a guess. Please stay safe and update us, please. And you're shower tonight. No, I'll shower in the morning. I ain't gonna do that right now. I can't do that right now. I thought they were gonna find Lynn's real body when they talked about the smell. Not gonna lie, same. I thought it was really something about like a dead woman's body. Oh my god. Stinky. There are not more updates because he got found out by Lynn. The sun's gonna protect me. Yeah, okay. We feel when the lights are off here. Update us, please. Maybe it's released by parts, hence series. But there's no other updates. It's like the last update is really like 9 months ago. I really enjoyed the story. I won't be going to the bathroom tonight though. Yeah. Thank God I don't have a closet. What the freshly baked fuck? Yeah. The one reading will update it. I got so tense and now I'm so tired of being scared. Honestly, I'm not even sure if I can still fall asleep after this. And I have work at 7 AM in the morning. Chris and Rebecca, Evelyn and Ben, your family must be full of Resident Evil fans. It's consistent though, because if his wife's body was in the trunk, Chris's wife meeting her would be a plot hole. That's true, and it wouldn't have been addressed, I guess. That makes sense. Miria, drink copious amounts of water, you will not regret it. No! I refuse to hydrate myself now. Closets, the stuff of horror. Time to sleep. Mulat na mulat. Yeah, actually. Yeah, not gonna lie though, the writing was great. The writing was great. It was very descriptive. It knew exactly where to like pull all the punches and like relax with like letting it build up. So it was actually a nice read. Apart from the brain damage I got from it, I guess. But like, yeah, okay. Yeah. It was a good read. It was a good read. Tell us a funny story, please. I don't know. I don't know any funny stories. Let's look at eye bleach or something. Oh my god. Okay, there's this really interesting comment that I read. Like, okay, maybe it's just me, but it almost seems like Lynn never wanted to hurt OP. It wasn't until Chris and Ben found Lynn under the bed that she got violent. She wasn't actively predatory until she noticed Chris. The whole time prior that she just seems to be watching, holding herself back even. Sure, she hurt Ben when the guys ran, but only after she was going for Chris. Maybe she's still in there somewhere. Perhaps possessed, but still in enough control to not hurt her husband up until that point. Instead, she's been preying on animals to sate whatever dark force is making her this way. Dark force! Oh my god, okay. Well, the spookiness is helping me with No Not November. Can you even like do that, you know? I'm okay, I'm good. I'm good. I'm literally done. This is the horror reading stream. This is No Sleep. We literally only read 2 things. Technically 3 because there was a part 2 for the first one that we read. But yeah, we read 3 things. They were really, really long, but they were all really interesting. Yeah, there are some things that I want answers to, but sometimes you don't really get answers afterwards. But yeah. No Sleep November. I hope you... Okay, I don't know. I can't even hope for it. Did you guys enjoy? I hope you guys felt some relief by staying with me throughout the night. I appreciate you guys for joining me, and I am very, very thankful that you guys were actively responding and chatting to me while I was reading the entire thing. That was great. That was honestly great. Thank you for not letting me feel like I was alone. I mean, I'm realistically alone. Who knows if I'm alone now? Maybe someone's watching, but no, please God, no. But like, I'm really happy that you guys stuck around. Yeah, it feels like a Halloween extension. I think I'm gonna sleep with my lights on if I even manage to. I currently have all of the curtains hiding the windows right now. So, yeah. More Miria horror readings. I'll do it in the morning, please. Don't check under your bed. Don't worry, I can't check under my bed even if I tried because I don't have a bed frame. I only have a mattress on the floor. But yeah, good night, guys. Thank you for joining me, and I'll see you guys near you live like this. Yeah, I do. I'm sorry. I'm seriously thankful that you guys are here. I will see you guys tomorrow because tomorrow we're gonna do something fun. We are going to be watching Train to Busan. It's not a members only watch along, so everyone is welcome, and you know, I'm really inviting you guys to join me. It's my first time watching Train to Busan tomorrow, so yeah, let's have some fun. Bye bye. Good night, guys. Good night. Thank you very much for joining me. Good night.